Matthew 18, verses 15 to 22. Jesus said to the disciples, "If your sister or brother should commit some wrong against you, go and point out the error, but keep it between the two of you. If she or he listens to you, you have won a loved one back. If not, try again, but take one or two others with you, so that every case may stand on the word of 2 or 3 witnesses. If your sister or brother refuses to listen to them, refer the matter to the church. If she or he ignores even the church, then treat that sister or brother as you would a Gentile or a tax collector. The truth is, whatever you declare bound on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you declare loosed on earth will be loosed in heaven. Again, I tell you, if 2 of you on earth join in agreement to pray for anything whatsoever, it will be granted you by God in heaven. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am in their midst." Peter came up and asked Jesus, "When a sister or brother wrongs me, how many times must I forgive? 7 times?" "No," Jesus replied, "not 7 times. I tell you, 70 times 7.
Several months ago, Nat Ellison asked the following question. When a precocious yet nonconformist teenager asks why they need to learn calculus, what should you say? Nat goes on to write, "You know they'll never use it in adulthood outside certain career choices. You could say it'll help you get into college, but then they're left wondering why college cares if you know calculus. And once they're in college, maybe you could say to get a good job. But why would a potential hire care how you did in multivariate calculus if your job doesn't require any knowledge of calculus to start with?" Nat continues, "I was one of those annoying students. I had the capacity to do well in school, but never cared to because I never heard a good answer to this line of questioning. I never understood the point of truly learning the material in hard classes that you're never going to use in the real world, and I assumed I could goof off and do the bare minimum to get away with it." But then he writes, "But I recently realized there's a very good reason to take calculus. It's to prove that you can do hard things." Forgiveness is hard sometimes. Forgiveness, sometimes we don't even know what it looks like. Now, when I was in 2nd grade, I too got into a fight with my best friend. And it was over a girl, believe it or not. Yes, a fight over who could walk Tammy home after school. And as we were fighting, Jidge came over my shoulder with his arm wrapped over, and my best defense, don't try it, I bit ferociously into his arm, leaving teeth marks and later a big bruise. Now I got home from school that day, perhaps a bit sullen, but I wasn't going to talk about it. And so, thinking I had gotten away with it until the following Sunday after church, when Jidge's mother spoke to my mother, there was some saying, "I'm sorry, and will you forgive me?" I don't remember what I said and how I did it, but we are still best friends, even after fighting over who walked someone home. Forgiveness is hard. And Jesus doesn't make it easier. I much rather, to go along with Peter, is 7 times enough? But Jesus prods us in this incalculable calculus. Now we think, well, we could keep a list of 490 times and keep a list of it. But that's not Jesus' point is. It's about more of calculus, the study of how the movement of change moves us forward is what Jesus is getting at. Throw out all the math you learned when you think about forgiveness. It's not about counting it up, saying, I finally reached the threshold and I'm done with it. Calculus, like forgiveness, is hard. And Jesus gives us no relief. For often we've heard the words about forgiveness is when finally someone ignores you enough that we are to treat them as a Gentile or tax collector. And for years I had thought it meant finally push them away. But then Jesus turns the tables on us, as I've said before, and we have to think about how Jesus actually treated Gentiles and tax collectors. Jesus actually sat down and ate with them. Jesus loved them and welcomed them in. My friends, here is the thought about forgiveness. It's not about counting. It's about doing the hard work. Just as I imagine Nelson Mandela had to do some hard work after leaving prison to be able to say he had to let go of it so that he could escape prison's walls. The thing about forgiveness is it's not about the other person saying you're forgiven, but it's about the work that we must do intentionally within ourselves. For we could pester someone 7 times 70 times to finally forgive us, but it may make someone even angrier that we keep coming and saying, I forgive me, because they might just simply become annoyed that we keep asking the same question over and over. But, my friends, the question is, how do we open our minds and our lives to an incalculable love that is one that we can never quite imagine, one that we will never be able to figure out with calculus? For the love of Jesus, the answer is infinity. It changes us. And if we worked at it, you and I too can do hard things. Perhaps not calculus, but perhaps we can make a go of it with forgiveness. 7 times 70 or 1,000,000 times infinity. God loves us, and we too can forgive.